The mortise and tenon is the strongest wood-to-wood glue joint that you and I can create in our shop, but a lot of times they're overkill. They're great for adjoining maybe an apron to a leg on a kitchen table, but most of the time we need joints like, a cabinet face frame. They don't require a great amount of strength, but we need to be able to make them fast and accurate. So how do we do that? Well, one method, without using mechanical fasteners, is to use a floating tenon, similar to a dowel. By drilling holes, you're creating a mortise. The dowel is your tenon, and by accurately placing the holes in both boards, you can get great joints. Here are 4 examples of loose-tenon machines. The first is a Dowel Max doweling jig. The second is a plate joiner or biscuit joiner. The third is the Beadlock system, and the fourth is the Domino by Festool. So let's review how each one of these machines work. Dowels are an incredibly strong joint, but if you're drilling multiple holes and multiple dowels, it can be very difficult to get everything lined up just perfect. Well, a lot of jigs are the problem. This one kind of solves a lot of those problems. This is the Dowel Max. You line your jig up with the edge of your board, clamp it down, and drill your hole. They also have this indexing pin, which I really like because I can butt it up against the edge of the board, clamp it down, and now when I drill my holes, they're going to be perfectly aligned off the end of the board. I can also use this same thing, this pin, to go in a previously drilled hole and then drill as many holes as I want. I can drill 5 holes, all the same size. The other thing I can do with this jig is I can slide way down a board and use this auxiliary gauge, insert it in the hole, and drill my hole. It's a great tool. The biscuit joiner is another option for creating a floating tenon. It kind of stretches the definition of a tenon in its strength, but it does create a mortise by cutting a slot with a plunging cutter head to receive this football-shaped tenon. They're not as strong as a mortise and tenon, they're not as strong as a dowel, but they do help with alignment. They're very simple to create. Simply create a center mark of the joint on your 2 boards. Align the tool with the center mark and make your cut. Now insert the tenon into the mortise with some glue and clamp. The Beadlock Jig combines the simplicity of drilling dowels but creates the strength and almost shape of a true mortise and tenon. It's very easy to use. Again, you use your alignment mark, line up the tool, and clamp it in place. Now drill the first series of holes to receive the beadlock. Make sure you remove your drill as you're drilling to clean out any chips that might get lodged in the bit. Loosen the knobs, slide the bushing over, retighten the assembly, and drill the remaining 2 holes. You'll notice we used a flag of tape to make sure we got our proper depth when we were drilling. It's a good jig and it's easy to use, but I've found that you need to provide really good clamping pressure and really tighten these knobs to prevent it from shifting while drilling your joint. The newest machine for cutting loose tenons is the Domino by Festool. It combines the best features of a very accurate doweling jig, the broad tenon strength of a beadlock, and the speed and accuracy of a biscuit joiner. The machine works much like a biscuit joiner by making a plunging cut. Here in a piece of clear acrylic, you can see the bit spins and oscillates to form the mortise. Now that we've demonstrated how the Domino makes the cut, how do we actually put this into practice? Here, I'm setting up a joint much like a cabinet face frame. Draw a triangle across the joint pointing to a common face. Set the machine in place with the arrow pointing at the indexing pins that are on the front of the joiner. Now make your cut. When making the cut, apply steady pressure and a nice even cut, and the machine does the work for you. To make the cut in the adjoining face, use the opposite indexing pin, again with the arrow pointing at the pin, and make the cut. Now it's a simple assembly. Insert the domino in both parts, and now you're perfectly aligned on both faces. To give you an idea of how fast and accurate this machine is, I built a rocking chair that required 30 floating tenon joints in 3 different sizes. I was able to go from square stock laying on my bench to a dry assembled chair in only 45 minutes. That's pretty impressive. We also did testing to determine the strength of the Domino, the Beadlock, the Biscuit, and the Dowel Max. To find these results and more information about floating tenons, check out Wood Magazine.